When it comes to building wealth, your biggest and greatest tool will be your primary income. So you need to have a real tight grip on where your money is going every single month. In this video, I wanted to give you an overview of my personal finances, how much money I'm making, how much money I'm spending each month, and how much I'm budgeting for my investments. So for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Lewis, I'm 25, I'm an account manager for a company in London that specialises in IT, recruitment and managed services. My salary is quite commission dependent, and with that it will fluctuate over the year, but on average right now I'm pulling in around £3,400 per month. So we can see here that that equates to roughly around 54, £55,000 per year here in the UK. And my setup's probably a little bit different to most that work in London. So my current setup at the moment, I live at home in my family home and I travel down to London and I'm there 3 days per week. So we fall into the usual twat way of working, which is Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday in the office. And I travel down to London on a Tuesday morning and I then come back from London on Thursday night. So Tuesday night and Wednesday night, what I do is I get a hotel. For me, it works out roughly about the same for getting a hotel for 2 nights as it would for going to London and getting a return train 3 days per week. So from a pure time perspective, I'd just rather be in London and spend that time in London rather than going home and then or going to London, coming back home every single day for those 3 days. So I'm going to break down my finances and what it actually looks like for me. So as I say, my income starts at roughly around £3,400 per month. I then have to break down my expenses in the following of rent at home, which for me is £200 per month. I then have my hotel cost, which is around £500 a month. So for housing, that's, as I say, for me, equates roughly about £700 per month. I then have the likes of travel. Obviously, I've got to travel to and from London. And then when you're in London, you unfortunately have to pay to travel around, which also does add up to a fair amount of money each month. So for me, my trains vary from 60 to £80 per week, but let's cut it into the middle of £70. So for a 4 week month, my travel expenses for trains is about £280 per month. I then, as I mentioned, have to travel in and around London. So depending on where my hotel is that week, and then got to get to my office in Old Street. That equates to roughly about £80 a month. So it's roughly about £7 per day that I'm spending. So let's call it £20 a week, 80 quid a month. Also in the wonderful travel brackets, I'm going to put my car. So I pay my car monthly on a hire purchase loan that I got from the bank. So the interest on that is super, super low. It's about 2%. It's just before the world went crazy in terms of interest rates, where they were sky high, like 16, 17%. So I was quite lucky with the loan that I did get on this car. So principal loan was around about £10,000 for the car, and I've been paying that off monthly, and it cost me about £230 per month. The tax on the car for the year is super cheap. It was 30, it's just gone up to £45 a year. And then my insurance, annoyingly, has just gone up, so that's around £50 per month. So on average, I'd say I'm paying around £300 a month for my car. So for a total of travel, I'm there around £660 per month, not including petrol or diesel, just because my costs for that are pretty low, and it's, I'd say, probably £20, £30 a month on that. The budget for food for me, as I say, I am living at home at the moment, and my £200 of rent covers my food. So thank you to my mum and stepdad for that. So my food costs are quite low. When I am in London, I do have to pay for my food. So I'll create my food for the week. So I'll bring sandwiches, food with me that will last me Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the daytime, put them in the fridge at work. But in the evenings, what I'll do is I'll go to Aldi. You can usually get some microwave rice, some chicken fillets and things and stuff that you can kind of put together. And I'd say I spend roughly about £5 per night. And because I'm only there 2 nights, it's realistically £10 per week, £40 per month. I've got my miscellaneous expenses that still pay monthly, things like phone, which is £15 per month. I pay for Apple Music, which is £5 per month because I've got the student discount still. Then I have my gym, which is £35 per month. I've got a haircut, which I get every 3 weeks or 4 weeks, which is £15 a month as well. And what I do as well that most people probably won't is I have a sports massage every 2 weeks, which is £45 a session, so £90 per month. I do that just because I've had quite a few issues in the past with neck, back, things like that. So I thought, do you know what, I would rather do that. Bit of preventative maintenance saves me from not being able to walk for a couple of weeks. So in the miscellaneous, total there is around about £160 per month, which brings my monthly outgoings, which I pay consistently every single month, to £1,560 per month. So in my eyes, my finances probably aren't that efficient. They probably could be a little bit more efficient. I could pay my principal loan of the car off, which I think is around £5,000 left on that. I could take that out of my savings and pay it off and pay no interest, but due to the fact the interest rate on that is so low, it kind of just doesn't really make sense for me, because I'm essentially beating the market a little bit with interest rates being 4, 5, 6%. It makes more sense for me to invest that money than it would to just pay off the loan at 2%. But I currently am quite happy with the amount of money that I am saving per month. It leaves me roughly £1,900 per month to actually spend things on like leisure or investing my money. I also have not added a budget for leisure, which you'll probably be able to see from the video, simply because I don't actually spend that much money on going out or doing anything pretty crazy. Every now and then we'll have the odd day out. Recently we went to the F1 arcade. You know, we might eventually go out for a meal once a month, but I wouldn't say we're spending anything crazy. So maybe another £100 to £200 per month maximum, I would say, on leisure. Bearing that in mind, we did actually just completely pay off Florida the other day, so that was something I was spending per month, but I'm basing this purely off of the month of April, which we're now at the end of, and my leisure expenses in that I think came to something around £12. So yeah, I don't really spend too much money on going out or doing anything too crazy, just because a lot of the time there's not really much need in my eyes. So what do I do with that remaining £1,900 per month? So what I do with this is I put it in a mix of things, really. That mix consisting of my stocks and shares ISA, which I just put the money into the S&P 500, and roughly I'd say I put about 80% of my money of that £1,900 in there. I will sometimes put money in individual stocks. One of those was Snapchat. I've got about £9,000 total in there now. It's just gone up about £2,500. So thank you, Snapchat, for that 25% increase. Very, very ideal. The rest of that money might go on books, investment into education, for property, because that for me is something I want to try and build up quite a big chunk of my asset within property. And then investing into like new businesses. So I mentioned in a previous video that we've just set up a new company called Beaumont Creative, so it's paying for ads behind that as well. And as I mentioned, there might be the odd kind of meal out or something that we do with the rest of that money, but I wouldn't say anything too frivolous or too crazy. I hope this is kind of give you a good insight into my life, my finances, how much money I'm getting each month, how much money I'm spending each month. I always find these videos quite interesting. I quite enjoy seeing how much money people are making, how much money people are spending, how much money people are investing. Always something that's very much interesting to me, at least anyway. So I hope this gives you a bit of an insight into my life at the moment. I am hoping that my primary source of income will actually increase just as the economic market starts to uptick over the next 6, 12, 18 months. Just because, as I mentioned at the start, my income is very much tied to how well the IT industry is doing at the moment, seeing as though my job is currently right now about 50-50, 50% being a secure salary, 50% being commission. So for me, I do see quite a bit of fluctuation depending on how well the IT industry is doing at that current moment in time. So fingers crossed, by the end of this year, I'll hopefully have a bit of an update with you on how well earnings are going. But in my mind at the moment, I'm trying to aim for 6 figures as quickly as possible. If I can get that within the next 12 months, I'll be pretty happy with that. So as I say, bit of an insight into my life. Hope you found the video enjoyable, and let me know in the comments below how much money you're earning in saving and investing each month as well.